Well, see, when you look at somebody like me, I grew up here. There's nothing you can tell me about Memphis that I don't already know.
There's nothing you can tell me about Memphis.
From the boardroom to the streets.
That I don't already know.
With Mike from Memphis, man. Together, we can fix things. Really?
When you say, I want to be treated fairly, and I want a voice.
Yeah. He saw things weren't fair, so he chose to run for mayor. You get up and do something when you really care. It's Memphis 360.
I'm with you.
In the meantime,
It's Memphis 360.
In the meantime, in between time, we got folks shooting people up out the frame. Anybody said a word. We've become accustomed to people dying in this city.
Yeah. It's Memphis 360.
Turning the TV on and the news and see our loved ones and see young people that are out of control. And now you see, okay. We talk about incarceration. We talk about the youth. We talk about giving them the ability. We talk about investing in young people and investing in the community. See, I hate ignorance. I hate when people make decisions about things and they make statements and they haven't done their research.
How can you fix the problem when you don't even know what the problem is?
We need some help in this city.
It's Memphis 360.
See, I hate ignorance.
It's Memphis 360. Man.
And good evening. We'd like to welcome you to another edition of Memphis 360, the television show we say we like to go from the boardroom to the streets. And I'm excited today. I'm excited. It's just so much going on here in the city of Memphis, all across the nation, actually. But we're concerned about what's going on here in the city. And we say, how can you make those decisions on the top when you don't know what's going on the bottom? Or it's better to know what's going on the bottom, meaning what's happening with the citizens, what's going on out there in the streets, staying connected, actually representing the people that have elected you and put you in office. Or if you are a manager, CEO, clerk, whatever, and you have people up under you, it's good to know what's going on with your staff so that you can better serve your staff. What's up, Brand James? I see you out there. I am excited today because I have a special guest in the studio. I have a special guest. It is Commissioner Edmund Ford Jr. Yay! The commissioner actually took the time to come out. And, you know, on this show, we like to avail the electeds to the citizenry that have elected them and put them in office. But we really appreciate when those electeds actually take the time to come out and open themselves up to the citizens. This is not a show that we like to sit here and try to grill people and all of that. We want you to know the individual that you are electing and that you're putting in office. And it's get to the point, though, where we may need a little sponsorship, but not right now. God has truly been good. He continues to bless. And Miss Debbie continues to bless. SVP TV Network. And you can catch us on Apple, Roku, Uverse, YouTube, Comcast, Channel 17. I mean, there are a lot of good things happening with SVP TV Network. What's going on, James K. Winfrey? And because we are being blessed and because things are happening over here at SVP TV Network, Miss Debbie is opening the place up. She said, anybody can have a show. Anybody want a show can have a show. No, I'm just kidding. For a fee, you can have a show. And a friend of mine who is, and I consider him a friend, Kevin Rayford, who owns Rayford Hot Wings, what have you. It happened in his establishment. And the young man was seen on video, in my resisting the officer. And you saw the officer actually punch him and the officer actually kneed him. And there was all kinds of controversy behind that. Some people, oh, they're too zealous. Oh, they didn't have to hit him. Oh, they didn't have to do this. They didn't have to do that. I'm going to tell you that right now, the streets of Memphis are in chaos. You had an individual that was shot and killed over there at Danny Thomas and Madison, I believe. You have individuals that are, some 17-year-olds showed up at the emergency room last night that had been shot. We're still on record numbers of homicides here in this city. They're having an epidemic where cars are being broken into downtown, all over the place. They showed a video yesterday where young men were so brazen and so bold that in broad daylight, they walked into a lady's yard and actually took her car. Now, I understand, and Kevin commented on one of my posts because he knew that I was going to jump on it in regards to the young man. Now, I am not an individual that wants anybody to be abused by the police, because it could be my brother, my nephew, my cousin, my sisters, my brothers, what have you. So I don't want anybody to be abused by the police, but without order, there is chaos. And right now we have chaos here in the city of Memphis. I'm hearing that that guy may have been a member of what they call a Scorpion team. When that individual sat in Rayford's for about 20 minutes, that's what Kevin said, and he was very mannerable. Kevin let him use the phone, wasn't a problem. But I'm gonna tell you that a lot of times individuals that have perpetrated crimes, they actually know how to get some get right when it's time to get some get right. However, the young man knew why the police was confronting him, because he had two warrants for aggravated assault. He had 2 warrants for aggravated assault because he had punched his girlfriend in the mouth. He had ran her car into the curb. The wheels came off of the axles. She got hurt in the car wreck, and she went down and swore out a warrant. See, this is the thing. We have individuals that are out there victimizing our citizens. They're victimizing your brothers. They're victimizing your sisters. They're victimizing your mother. You know, they're victimizing you, the hardworking citizens here in the city of Memphis. And everybody wants to have it a certain way. Let me tell you something. Dealing with individuals that have committed crimes is not a pretty, it's not a pretty vocation. Okay? They asked the man to come with them. He refused. There's a thing called a force continuum. Even at the academy, you go verbal commands, you go soft hands, like trying to grab somebody. You go hard hands, where you hit somebody, okay? You continue to elevate the force continuum. And that's what those officers were doing. A lot of times they don't have time when they're wrestling somebody on the ground to stop and explain to you what they're doing. Hold on, dude. Excuse me, sir. I am trying to get this guy under control because he has 2 warrants for aggravated assault. He beat his girlfriend up. He wrecked her car, such. And then if you go onto the young man's Facebook page, like me, because I like to investigate what's going on, the young man is standing there with guns. I think they got like a AK or a Draco. There they got pistols pointed at people. You know, this is the kind of lifestyle that you're living. And you want the police to go out here and to tackle this crime. Well, see, you don't know that they know that this individual carried guns, but they know that this individual carried guns. So in order to get the crime under control, and I always tell you guys this, you can't have it both ways. Either we're going to let the criminals take over this city, which they already have, and we keep running to their defense, or we're going to allow the police to do the individual that had the warrant. I had no problem with that, because it could have been a whole lot worse. They could have had ASP. They're allowed to use ASP. He kneed him in the side, but there are certain areas on the body that you can actually knee. And if in fact you had a nightstick, you can hit him with the nightstick in those areas, as long as it's not around the head, as long as it's not going to break bones. But when you talk about the fatty tissue and soft parts of the body, yes, you can do that to get an individual to comply. That is the goal, to get them to comply, to get them under control. And all of that could have been avoided if the young man would have just complied. There would have been no wrestling on the floor. There wouldn't have been no tearing up of Rayford's hot wings. Kevin would not have had to get all excited. Because, see, all Kevin knew was the young man came into his business. The young man seemed to be a pretty nice guy. The young man hadn't did anything, and you kept hearing Kevin say, he hasn't done anything, he hasn't done anything, he hasn't done anything. And at that particular time, he had not done anything. However, it's what he had done days before that they were trying to get him on a warrant that had been issued for him for aggravated assault, 2 counts. Not 1, but 2 counts. So we got to make some decisions around here. And it's nothing wrong with checks and balances, and I don't mind having conversations like this. Because that perpetrate crimes have to answer for those crimes. And I will also tell you that it is the responsibility of the police to take those individuals into custody. And yes, when we see things happening and we don't know all of the facts, we get excited. Because we don't want the police being overzealous and hurting some innocent individual. I don't believe in police disrespecting elderly people. I don't believe in police being overzealous. I believe that once that incident had happened, I felt like there should have been an individual, supervisor, somebody that went back to Kevin Rayford, because he is a business owner in this community, and explained to him what happened so that he would be knowledgeable and he would understand. Now, the way Kevin was at the time, Kevin didn't want to hear it. Kevin like, get out of my freaking, he didn't say freaking, get out of my business. Get out of my business. I don't want y'all in my business. Get out of my business. Because Kevin was frustrated and upset as well. And rightfully so, because that is his business establishment. That's how he makes his money. And he's getting to be an elder in the community. Kevin got to be like 40-something now, either 40 or 50. He don't want to see young, innocent men being hurt by the police as well. So I definitely understand that. But I'm going to tell you, if we're going to get this crime under control, you're going to see things like this. Because these young kids, they ain't going. They know they got warrants. They know they have guns. They know they've committed a crime. And guess what? The police are trying to keep the element of surprise and snatch them up. I think it turned out pretty well. The young man, yep, he got a little beat up. He had some bumps and bruises. But you have to be responsible. Because what if that was your daughter that he had popped in the mouth? Because see, on the other side of the coin, okay? So we'll probably be talking about this again, and I don't mind. But I'm going to tell you where I stand. I'm telling you, I want the police to capture these people, hold these individuals accountable. Because see, it could be my car next. It could be my daughter next. It could be my sister next. You could be at the gas station and they holding you up. Your car sitting in the driveway you done worked so hard for, and they coming in taking your car. People are going downtown trying to enjoy themselves. They breaking in 20, 30, 40 cars at one time. So, how do you stop that? You stop it by taking them into custody. And then as a segue into that, I don't know if you guys know, but our state legislators have just passed a truth in sentencing bill. The governor wasn't for it, but guess what? They passed it anyway. And it goes into effect 1 July. Now, what that says is, hopefully, in helping to fight some of this crime, and some of you people are going to say, oh, it's a bad thing, Michael. It's a bad thing because they just want to lock black folk up. I ain't locked up. But I try not to break the law. You know, something may happen sometime to eventually because I got post-traumatic stress disorder that I might just go off the deep end and I may get locked up. I don't know. But we got to start holding these individuals accountable because the jailhouse is like a revolving door. They're getting locked up, they right back out. They get locked up, they right back out. They get locked up for 10 years and they out in 2. They get locked up for 15 years and they out in 3. And guess what? They go to recommit the crime. Now, your 2 people that are running for DA, they are on opposite ends of the spectrum. DA Amy Warwick, current DA, she is for truth in sentencing. Mr. Steve Mulroy says it's dumb. It's a waste of money. We should be using that money on the front end to put programs in place to da-da-da-da. Now, I agree. We should dedicate money to youth programs, different things like that. So I agree with him in that aspect. However, I also agree with Democrats that actually voted for this. I'm sure pretty much all of the Republicans up there in the state House of Representatives and the Senate voted for it. But you had 5 Democrats in the state House that voted for it. I ain't gonna tell you who they are because I ain't gonna put it out there like that, not right now. But you can go and take a look and see, in fact, who they are. But what it says is, starting July the 1st, crimes like attempted first-degree murder, I agree. Second-degree murder, I agree. Burglary, robbery, and more will require 100% of the sentence to be served. So those individuals that are going to be committing those crimes, instead of doing what they say sometimes 80%, 75%, 70%, some of them 40%, they're going to have to do 100% of their time. A lot of individuals are against it, like Governor Bill Lee saying that it's going to cost the state more money. But it's costing the citizens all kinds of money when the citizens are already going through a whole lot right now anyway. All right? So for those of you that are out there and those individuals that are going to be committing crimes, starting 1 July, the Truth in Sentences bill that was passed, you're going to have to do 100%. All right? And moving right along. The other thing is, I wanted to real quickly, I got an email from Miss Lucille Catron, who is right now the president and one of the founders of the Beale Street Development Corporation. They're finally going to have their day in court, the 1st of July. It's going to be in Chancery Court, July 21st, 10 a.m., Chancery Court Division 1. And she's asking for people to come down and support. They've been going through this long, drawn-out thing with the city of Memphis and da-da-da-da-da. And a lot of people don't realize Beale Street used to be the place where all black people went. They had hotels down there when black people came to the city of Memphis, entertainers, artists, all of that. They had to stay down at the hotels on Beale Street because that was the segregated area for black folk. And I believe in 1970, what was it, 1970 something, 1973, Mr. Randall Catron and some other individuals got together and they were able to acquire a $23 million, listen to me, $23 million grant for the redevelopment of Beale Street. And I think right now they have about 5 black businesses down there. And I'm not trying to make this a black and white thing, but I will tell you that Miss Lucille and Mr. Randall Catron, prior to him passing, they worked really, really, really hard to establish or reestablish Beale Street. And if it wasn't for that $23 million that they acquired, Beale Street would probably not be the worldwide name, recognized place of that everybody wants to visit. It probably wouldn't be that. But because of them. And then there's some controversy that they were saying that Mr. Catron, when he was on his deathbed, now this don't make sense to me, but okay. He done fought all this hard to try to, because the Beale Street Development Corporation has all of the master leases to all of the property. So the FedEx Forum couldn't have been built unless they gave them the okay. The, what is that hotel down there? the hotel where all the basketball players stay at, right across from the FedEx Forum? The Westin. The Westin Hotel could not have been built unless they gave them the okay, which they did. And then the Peabody Garage. I mean, all of that. The Beale Street Development Corporation had to give permission for all of that stuff to happen. But what they're saying is that Mr. Catron, while he was dying, with her, but you know, I'm part of the court system and I'll be working that day. So I'm sorry, Ms. Catron, if I was not working and if I was not attached to the court system, you know I would be there with you because I ain't got nothing but love for you. And I appreciate all of your hard work and efforts and all of the things that you've done to keep Beale Street going and to dedicate your life to a lot of, and I tell people this story, and we're gonna go to commercial break because I'm gonna bring Commissioner Ford up. When I ran for mayor of Memphis, well, first of all, you know who inspired me to run for mayor of Memphis? Randall Catron. I don't know what he saw in me, but every time he saw me, he was like, you need to run. You need to run for mayor. You need to run for mayor. You need to run for mayor. Guess who was the first person that contributed to my campaign? Randall Catron. Guess what? I never cashed a check. I still have, I'm kind of stupid, I guess. No, I'm not. I never cashed a check, and I still have the check to this day because that meant so much to me. Mr. Catron was one of the first individuals, and I held him in high esteem and high regard because I knew the story of Beale Street. I knew the things that he had done. I knew all the hard work that he had put in as an individual that looked like me. So it meant a lot to me for one of my elders to have that much faith in me. So I got nothing but respect for Mr. Randall Catron. Rest in peace, sir, or rest in love. And I have nothing but respect for Miss Lucille Catron, who always show me love. So if you can support her, Commissioner, used to be City Councilman Edmund Ford Jr. Now he is Commissioner Edmund Ford Jr. Oh, and by the way, let me put Dr. on there, Dr. Edmund Ford Jr. We're going to take a real quick commercial break, and we're going to come back and talk about some of the things that are going on around the county. Since I've been there working for Clerk Brown, I'm becoming very intimate with the workings of Shelby County government as well. We're going to take a real quick commercial break. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back after this break.
Here, I got some good news and a special invitation for you to come see me here at Sunrise Collierville. Come on down, check out my inventory with new, pre-owned, and certified vehicles to choose from. I can get you finance when no one else can. Come on by, bring your family. I treat you like family. Come see me, Issa, here at the #1 dealership in the Mid-South, 4605 Houston Levy Road, Sunrise Collierville. Come on down, check out my inventory with hundreds of vehicles to choose from, pre-owned, new, and certified.
Good news from Sunrise Chevrolet. Get in your new vehicle today. Come on in, ask for Esau. Bankrupt, slow pay, bad credit, it's okay. Let Esau put you in your brand new truck or car today when you shop at Sunrise Chevrolet Collierville.
And don't forget, ask for me, Issa.
For over 20 years, OPOX has been keeping the Mid-South
warm in the winter and cool in the summer.
OPOX is family-owned and operated, so our family will take care of yours every step of the way. And right now, you can double up and save. Buy a new AC unit and get 50% off a new furnace to match it. Count on OPOX for fast and professional heating and cooling services. Count on OPOX.
And we'd like to welcome you back to Memphis 360, the television show. We said we like to go from the boardroom to the streets. We've had some really interesting guests. We've had Commissioner Eddie Jones. We've had Shelby County Clerk Wanda Halbert. We've had Judge Betty Thomas Moore. We've had Judge
building in about 2 years, so
wow,
you still got the green screen back there.
Yes, sir, because you're looking good up on the screen. Look at you, looking good. You know, your resume is just, it's outstanding. You know, Dr. Ford, Elected to the Shelby County Board of Commissioners August 2nd, 2018. Represent constituents in District 9. Born in Memphis. Oldest child of.
I was born in Mobile.
This says Memphis.
No, it shouldn't.
Right here. I got this off your page.
Oh, well, whoever put
Born
that
in Memphis.
We got to get that changed.
The oldest child of Edmund Sr. and.
Yeah. I was born in Mobile, Alabama, the
Really?
week before Hurricane Frederick hit. So I guess if people want to call me a hurricane baby, I'm fine with that.
Right. And lovely mother, graduated at the age of 16 from. You graduated 16?
I had kindergarten for 1 month, and they decided to put this system on me. You know how the headphones used to be real heavy back in the day with
Right,
the bigger
right.
antenna.
Right.
They just told me, go in this room, take this math test, take this reading test. Next thing I know, they say, go to this room over here. You're in first grade now. I didn't know what was going on. I was just
Wow.
doing what I was told.
Wow. Graduated from Central High School, went on, earned a bachelor's and master's in mathematics with a minor in computer science from Tennessee State University.
Right.
Completed 2 years of PhD study in leadership and policy studies at Vanderbilt, people. Woo, this man is educated, ultimately earning a doctoral degree in higher education administration and supervision from Tennessee State University. Dr. Ford is currently pursuing an associate of occupational science degree.
So this entire
You already got
biography,
that, right?
In 2020, I went and got the funeral service degree.
Exactly. I saw that
So
as well.
I see how I have not been on this thing in so long.
Oh,
so
wow.
I have to let
You need to
one
tell
of
them
the
to update
I
this,
know
sir.
exactly who to go to so that they can modify that accordingly.
Man, and
Because we had to
then,
change it anyway in September.
it lists all of these awards and accolades, and you serve as secretary for the Tennessee Municipal League, 8th District, Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Wow. Masonic Lodge 357, free and
Orange
accepted Masons, Orange Mound Lodge. This man is credentialed, badged, got all of this stuff going on, which is a good thing. But I'm so glad that you took the time to come down and talk to us. So
My
tell
pleasure.
us a little bit about. Tell us a little bit about Edmund Ford. I don't want to talk about Commissioner Ford yet. I
No
want to talk
problem.
about Edmund.
Well, one thing that's in the bio, but a lot of people don't talk about it, is when I left the city council, I became the senior financial literacy coordinator for the Memphis Public Libraries.
Oh, okay.
And one thing that I've done for the last 4 years is created curricula and other resources so that anybody from age 3 to 103 can actually go into the library, or if there's resources such as when I go every month to Manhood University and WOWS, and we help out individuals and they graduate so that they can be positive contributors to society. We've talked about everything from personal credit, buying your first home through the NACA program, for those high school seniors and anybody that's trying to find money to go to school. What we did with School Seed is we put in some money so that those juniors and seniors that are about to graduate from the school system have a free platform to go find scholarship money.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, the gentleman who was who founded the program, his name is Christopher Gray, and he was on Shark Tank. And I was watching Shark Tank that night, and Gloria Grenier and David John gave him a deal. And what he did was, back in the day, if you wanted to find scholarships, there was a big book in the guidance counselor's office.
Yes.
And you had to go find them yourself.
Yep.
So he's from Birmingham. He ended up doing this. I'll be quick with the story. He went to the local library, signed up for free computer service for 45 minutes. He would apply for every type of scholarship there is. But then when the 45 minutes was up, he got back in line again, waited his turn so that he could apply. He found about $1.3 million worth of scholarships.
Wow.
And he went to Drexel University, graduated there, and decided, I don't want the next person to have to do what I did. Because his mom worked 16 hours a day, and she couldn't afford college. But he decided, while he's in college, how about we have an app where you don't have to do what he had to do. And I want to say in 2015, it was the most downloaded app on Apple.
Really?
And yes, he's a multimillionaire now, I believe, and I keep in contact with him. But when I saw that show, Mike, I said, I want the city of Memphis to be the first city to where we offer this for free.
Wow.
And we did. We were the first city to offer that
So
to
now
our
our
students for
young
free.
people have the ability
Exactly.
to be able
Because look,
to.
I have student loans, but I don't want the next person to have student loans.
Exactly.
And you know, they got every type of scholarship. They got left-handed scholarships. They got a scholarship for anything you can find. So if anybody has that desire,
You were born in a
and
leap
will-
year.
Yeah, they do have that type of scholarship.
yeah,
They do.
yeah.
But if you have the desire and will to go to college, and if anybody is listening or watching, go to the School Seed website, which is schoolseed.org. Go to a place where it shows student scholarships and have your child, grandchild, niece, nephew sign up so that they can get that free access for an entire year.
Wow.
And this is something that we've been doing since 2015. Now, why are people just hearing about it? Well, I gave Shelby County Schools the opportunity to do what they needed to do, but the ball got dropped, so I asked some people from School Seed to pick it up, and that's exactly what they did. We were able to raise money, and we were able to make sure that this is something that is not a one-off, something that we're going to do every single year. So
And that's a good thing.
I've implemented that in the financial literacy class, because one thing that I want people to do is, and I'm a former teacher, I taught at Central High School
Right.
for 11 years. The personal finance class is not enough. It's a requirement, but you have a curriculum where you're only allowed to teach what's in that book. Now, I'm not blaming the teacher necessarily, because he or she may want to teach more, but when that principal or assistant principal comes in with that iPad, you better be teaching what's on here, otherwise I'm about to mark you.
Right.
And 35% of and teachers who are listening know this, 35% of your evaluation is you following that script.
Wow. Now, okay, so where did you grow up? What part of the city?
Okay, my first 6 years, if anybody knows the corner of Yazoo and Holland,
Okay.
that's where I was raised the first few years before we moved to Whitehaven. So anybody that knows that South Memphis area, there was a family, their last name was Holland, coincidentally. I was there for the first few years, but a lot of people don't know this. With older businesses, you know that the business would be downstairs,
Right.
and the housing quarters would be upstairs.
Upstairs.
So at NJ Ford and Sons, that's where my grandmother and grandfather
Okay.
stayed,
Okay.
and that's where I also stayed until we moved to Whitehaven.
Okay.
So my roots were there, and one of the grocery stores, which I'm glad that we got back in the community, is literally across the street. You know, the Southgate Shopping Center.
Right.
You know, the Kroger that used to be there
Right.
for 56 years decided to leave, and
Right.
what happened was it took the pharmacy with it. So you had a lot of people in my community that said that this is now a food desert, and I don't want to drive or walk or take the bus a significant amount of miles to go feed my family. The second closest grocery store was across the bridge to Arkansas. Now, how can I have the people that basically raised me go to Arkansas to go get food? So within 5 months' time, made calls, we did what we needed to do. You got to save a lot. Well, no, you got a cash saver over
Cash
there
saver.
now. The Save a Lot used to be on the other side.
Right.
You got cash saver, you have the Regional 1 pharmacy, and walking distance, you have the clinic.
Yep.
So we made sure that that same neighborhood, the same one that I was raised in, did not lose anything over
Believe it
there.
or not, I was out there Saturday.
So, there you go.
Because my grandmother and a lot of my family members lived out in that area as well. And I still have a home house actually out there off of Weaver.
So you know exactly where it is.
Yeah, so I was out there. So tell us a little bit, you were on the city council.
I
Tell us
was.
a little bit about some of the things you did for your district while you were on the city council.
So you know we had a lot of things. Those
Because
11
you were there
years.
11 years.
It was 11 years. You know, the first 4 years you got to learn.
Okay.
But then the second term, there were a lot of things that I was trying to do. But what I noticed was I had to go back into the community and let them know what was actually going on, because there were a lot of road bumps and obstacles, sort of similar to what's going on with county
We're gonna get
commission.
there
We're
with the
gonna
county
get there,
commission.
yes. But I can easily say that in that third term, a lot of things got done to where new council members, what we were able to do was we were able to find out all the needs for all 13 members.
Okay.
Not just special needs for Raleigh or Frazier or North Memphis, where everybody has needs, but we were actually able to put some things in place. So I could go through the plethora of things that we've done, but I want to make sure that people know that if there's any question about anything, I always go back to the policy. and I always go back to the vote, because I'll always back up whatever vote people may disagree on.
Right.
But I can always say where I'm coming from on that. And there was one particular instance where I had to have 14 town hall meetings on an item. And I had to let people know, well, you know, I'm going to let the people know why I did this, why I did this, why I did this.
Right.
And
Knowledge is the key.
I can tell you what year it was, too. It was in 2015 where I had those 14 town hall meetings, and my 2 staff people who are no longer, in fact, one of them is your deputy now.
Talk about Sophia Wardlaw.
Great person.
Yeah.
She was like, Councilman, are we going to have another meeting? I said, yes, because I'm not going to let the media tell the story.
Exactly.
Because the media has their own agenda. They
Tell
want
your
you to
own
have
story.
clicks. Please click this article. Please watch this show. Please do whatever. And I'm like, well, I tell you what, the people are going to be able to hear me and ask the question.
Back.
Exactly. Exactly.
Woo! Okay, so now you served on the city council for
Yeah.
11 years. Okay, now we're going to move forward.
Right.
So then you ran for county commission,
Correct.
and you got elected to that seat.
Right. It
Okay.
was a 7-way race. It was something.
Was it?
It was.
Wait a minute now.
Yes.
What
The first race was an 11-way race in 2007.
Okay.
Then it was a 4-way race in 2011. Then a 3-way race in 2015.
Wow.
Then a 7-way race in 2018, and then there was just a 3-way race last month.
Well, you just blew them away too, though. So
I will act like I'm down by 20. Then you had people at the polls like, wait a minute, why are you out here? Because I'm supposed to be out here.
right.
And you know I put a
Not taking
newsletter
anything
out
for
there
granted.
too. So with all the nonsense that's been going on the last couple of years,
Right.
with overzealous folks, I put a newsletter out there where I basically showed all of the accolades. You were asking about the things that I've done since I've been in office, really for 15 years. But sometimes you have to make sure that you tell the story because everybody else is not going to tell it, or they're going to tell it wrong, and they're just going to boldface lie.
On it. Yeah.
And I'm not going to name any names on your show, but there's a lot of people that's what they get a check to do, which is unfortunate.
I know. God, believe me, I know. And we fall for the okadoke. And I'm going to say this, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Me and Commissioner, at that time, Councilman Ford, didn't always agree. I was the president of the Police Association. But I do understand that a job is a job. His first priority, and it should be, was to represent his constituents. My first priority at the time was to represent the police officers of the Memphis Police Association that I had been elected to represent.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, and a lot of people, even my friend Sherry Harper, kind of got on my page, and she was like, "Oh wow!" And then some other folk was like, "Mike, you're going to have Edmund Ford Jr. on your show?" Yes. Because let me tell you this, and I was going to do this publicly.
Hey, it's your show. You do what you want.
I want to thank Commissioner Ford. When I first got there, and we were going through everything, and Clerk Brown wanted me to try to increase some of the salaries for the individuals, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. This was the first year, and Commissioner Ford said, "What do you need? What is it? You need compression money? Tell me what compression money you need to bring," because I was trying to change duty positions so that these individuals with bachelor's and master's degrees could make just a little bit more money. And it was because of you that I got that money. And I want to thank you for that. Then, fast forward, come to this year. It's nothing that I have, any initiative that I've needed, I've been able to go to Commissioner Ford. And it ain't just Commissioner Ford. I've been able to go to Commissioner Jones. I've been able to ask Commissioner Turner. But Commissioner Ford has been that mainstay to whereas, okay, what is it you need? Not that you're going to get it, but tell me what you need, and we'll see if we can work it out. And one thing that I've found out, and even as we're going through a current situation, he has stuck and stayed and tried to work the angles to be able to help these young people that are working for the county that are underpaid. And this is a problem that was created a long time ago.
Correct.
With these young people that are currently, and the reason it hits my heart so hard is because I have about 130 people that work for Clerk Brown. And of those 130 people that work for Clerk Brown, I would say 115 of them are female.
Okay.
And a lot of them are single parent females
Okay.
that have struggled and went to college, that have struggled and did whatever and are trying to hold households together. And it's hard to see these young people, especially when you got gas $5 a gallon, when you got all of these things that are going up. Food is up 20%, rent is up like 11%, or mortgages, and the mortgage rate is rising as well. But all of these things are increasing. So I wanted to thank you. Win, lose, or draw, or whatever happens, it does matter to me. But what matters to me the most is when an individual say they're going to do something, and when individuals walk that walk, especially when you say that you are for the people. And I'm going to tell you, your family has been an inspiration to me for a long time.
Okay.
The first Ford that I saw, quite naturally, was Harold Ford.
Yeah.
I was like a junior or a senior, sophomore in high school.
Okay.
And that's when they first created District 9, and he was running. And he came through, did the high school tour for those individuals that was graduating. I was like, wow, huh? Spoke very eloquently.
This was his first race?
Yeah.
74. Okay.
Yeah. Spoke very eloquently, all of that good stuff. And I was like, Jesus, okay. The second time was Harold Ford Jr.
Okay.
I retired out of the Army. I was moving into Arlington. They did not want to let me into the subdivision. They tried to price me out.
Okay.
I called up Harold Ford Jr. and said, sir, I just served my country. I'm back home. He said, what? He got on the phone, called D.C. Next thing I know, I had 5 inspectors out there,
And it was done.
Service. And now, and then I dealt with your father as well. He is a man of conviction. He's an individual who stands on what he says and says what he stands on. And he represents the citizens out there in Whitehaven. And this is not his first term on the city council. Yeah, because he served 2 years ago.
Correct.
And then come you and Justin. I'd have dealt with Justin a little bit too. So your family has a lineage of service. And that's what the Fords are known for. And to those individuals that see me posting about Commissioner Ford on my page, yeah, on my show, yeah, definitely. So I just want to tell you publicly that I appreciate the things that you've done.
Look, we're still going to fight,
Brown.
and we're still going to fight for those individuals who are still overpaid and underserved in the county.
Yeah.
A lot of people may not know that there's still 1,100 full-time employees that still make less than $40,000 a year. And you got 600 of them.
All of them in
that
my
make
office.
less than $35,000 a year.
They in my office.
And last week, well, I don't know if you want to segue it or not. I'm not going to take over your show. But last week, we tried to infuse some funds for those individuals who, if you look at whether it's federal, state, or otherwise, they're still at the poverty level.
Yes.
And we already set precedent helping those individuals out. When ARPA money came down here, you had individuals at first, and I think you remember this when we talked about the first stipend of $5,000.
Stipend, yeah.
This commissioner had to fight his own as well as the 11th floor with the mayor. And it took not 1, 2, 3, but 4 attempts for individuals to finally get that $5,000, where you had the county mayor that wanted to reject it and say, first of all, it was, I don't want to do it. Then it was, well, I want to do it my way, but his way never came into fruition.
Wow.
Then it came to, okay, we can do it, but let's tax those same employees 22%. Then it became, we won't tax 22%, but we're going to do it at the end of the year. Well, none of that happened because, and I appreciate commissioners for staying with me on this because I had to fight some of my own on there.
Right.
And I'm like, why are you trying to take this away from individuals? I guarantee you wouldn't want to do that job. And what happened was those individuals got the first $5,000 stipend September the 15th. So it wasn't, I'm going to tax you 20%, I'm 22%, or I'm never going to do it.
Right.
It is, we're going to tax you the same as your W-2, which you've been doing since the beginning.
Anyway.
and we're gonna make sure you get it September the 15th.
Right.
Because that's when people were basically struggling. It was before
Yeah.
we dealt with $5 gas.
It was during
and
the
everything else.
during
It
the
was
height
during
of the pandemic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And many of these individuals were working in the pandemic, whether they were cleaning offices or doing support services. And to my people in support services, I wish the person that is over support services would have been able to come to the table just like
Right.
you
Right.
and
Right.
Clerk Kuhn and Master Aaron Hall and others that were trying to do right by their employees. Because support services came to me and asked, well, we're at the very bottom. And I asked them, do you know if the funds are there? Well, not to name the person, but I talked to somebody who knows the funds were there. It's just the boss person did not decide to take care of that. And that's sad. But I guarantee he wouldn't want to do any of those things that support services does. And I applaud them and I respect the jobs that they do. That's why we got to keep on fighting it. We got to have a plan C or D to get it done.
Right.
But I sincerely hope that my colleagues also look at this as well, because let me just say this, Mike, there is money in that budget.
Yes.
There is money in that budget. Last year, $10 million came back and it went into the unassigned fund balance. And I bet that same amount or more is going back into the fund balance this year. So there were a lot of things that were missing in this budget.
Right.
You know, the mayor and the chair wanted to push the 5% raise. I wasn't against the 5% raise, but
Me
I
either.
wanted to know how much it's going to cost. Moreover, I wanted to make sure that it was done the right way.
Right.
Well, I voted for it, but then when I found out that it wasn't done the right way, it was basically too late.
Right.
And let me tell you what happened, and you know this as a former MPA head. If you give a raise, you have to add probably about 18 to 20% to that number.
Yes.
Because you have benefits, pension, and everything else, and this is not a one-off.
Right.
Unfortunately, we voted on an item where either the tab is going to be given to the future commissioners or a combination where if this mayor comes back as the incumbent
Right.
and gets sworn in September 1, it may come out of your office or somebody else's office.
Wow.
That is a possibility. And it has happened before. Even though you came in 2018 with Clerk Brown, those incidents did happen to where this body, the county commission, had to look and piecemeal things back in.
Yes.
And when I was the budget chair, you know, what I basically did was, and we got done in record time, we didn't raise taxes, we put more reserves in than any other body, and we made sure that everybody was able to eat, and we didn't take anything out of the fund balance.
Correct. Well, see, and now we're going through an iteration, whereas we were at the county commission meeting about 2 weeks ago. We're going to be there on the 27th, but we were there 2 weeks ago, spent 6 hours talking about voting machines and the implementation of voting machines and all of that because of a lawsuit and this, that, and the other.
Right.
And you're right, spent about 5 minutes talking about giving these individuals.
It wasn't 5 minutes.
Okay.
It wasn't 5 minutes. You had to leave
Yeah.
because you had family stuff going on.
Right.
But if you ask anybody else that was there, this is what happened. Those individuals that represented the multitude of people making less than $40,000 a year
Right.
did not even get an opportunity to go to the microphone and speak on behalf of their employees.
Wow.
Now, with all due respect to the chairman, he had the opportunity to run that meeting and to give an opportunity, even if you were going to vote it down. These folks stayed until 1:30 a.m. to be given the opportunity to speak. We start our meetings at 3.
Wow.
So that's 10 hours they waited, and they didn't even get the opportunity because the chairman went right to the vote.
And I know there was an email chain going around the next day. Clerk Kuhn, clerk at Master Hall, Trustee Newman, you know,
Correct.
everybody, Clerk Brown. And then I think Clerk Brown ended up sending an additional letter to the county commission.
did.
Because he was upset because those other electeds didn't get the opportunity to speak.
Yeah.
Number one, they're elected just like the county commissioners,
Correct.
even though they're not county commissioners. And the fact that they had already given another elected, which was the sheriff.
Correct.
Sheriff Bonner.
Correct.
The ability to use discretionary funds
Yes.
out of his budget salary to
Correct.
give the sheriff deputies a $5,000.
Which I
stipend.
co-sponsored. I sponsored both of them,
And-
so
and-
they got 10,000.
and like I
which
said,
I would
It's
do
great.
again if
Yeah,
they
it's
got it
great.
in their budget.
I'm
Yes.
not knocking that, but I just think that it is atrocious that you don't allow the other electeds
Mm-hmm.
the same ability to be able to compensate their staff who have also worked through the pandemic and are making way less money than
Mm-hmm. Correct.
the sheriff deputies, and some of them have more education than some of the sheriff deputies. Not that that should even matter,
Correct.
but you got some of these young ladies and young men that have struggled to get through school, have struggled, and then we want them to stay committed, and then we're having a problem with retention.
Correct.
We're losing a wealth of knowledge within the county system, because when you got, I was passing somewhere the other day, and they show where they paying $5,000 sign-on bonuses.
Oh, yeah.
They're paying, you talk about.
MPD, they got signing bonuses.
Oh, MPD,
Fitness
15,000.
house, $15,000, yes.
Signing bonuses. But there are other jobs like Amazon and all of them other places, you can go and make $17, $18 an hour. And we have individuals that are making,
$29,250.
y'all hear that?
Yes, we still have people in county government making $29,250.
Wow.
And one of the first things I talked about when I got on the commission is, what is this nonsense?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's when the county mayor said that we're gonna codify $15 an hour. A lot of people don't know, the mayor before him already did it. So it is what it is on that. But the problem was, I asked on record, and people can go back to the tape, does this include compression?
Right.
It did not include compression, because how many of you came down and said that I got people, and he didn't want to answer this question when he was approached by the media. You would have somebody making $15 an hour who worked 10, 15, 20 years in county government.
Yeah, yeah.
And somebody off the street with the same job would make the same thing as that person that's been working there for 15, 20 years. How's that fair? How's that equitable?
It is not fair, and it is not equitable. Not at all, okay? And I will tell you that a lot of young people from Clerk Brown's office has said that they want to come down there on Monday, and they want to speak, because they don't, and I hope the mayor and Commissioner Willie Brooks understand that these young people vote. And these young people vote, and these young people have relatives that vote, and it could have an effect, because I'm not only just hearing these young people that are complaining, but I'm hearing other people that are not necessarily okay with some of the things that are going on. Now, Clerk Brown definitely, when we were at the meeting, I was talking to him, and he was definitely for the 5%. Anybody be crazy not to be
Right.
for the 5%.
Right.
A bird in the hand is better than a bird in the bush or whatever.
It was close enough.
Is that what it is? A bird in the bush? No, something in the hand. It's whatever. But anyway, he was glad to get the 5%, but he was like, Michael, fight for the 5,000, because these young people, they're struggling right now. They're struggling, and they're going through, because everything is going through the roof. Gas, food, rent, this, that, and the other. And we're having a lot of people that are being stressed out because of the
I got the phone
amount
calls.
of work
Yeah.
that these young people are having to do, because we've been working short-staffed as well.
I had a couple people from your, I won't mention their names,
Right.
but we've already had that conversation
Right,
that
right.
said, look, I'd rather have the infusion on what transpired, and I talk about how many people got affected.
Right.
And to your point, the precedent was already set. So
Yes.
I know that the HR head, who's my fraternity brother, said, well, we can only do this. I said, but no, we already set precedent.
Exactly.
So we need to go ahead and do what we need to do. But it is a shame that those individuals stayed for 10 plus hours and didn't even get 5 seconds to speak on behalf of those employees making $29,250 up to less than $40,000.
That's correct. We got about a minute left. Angel is waving her little signs from the control booth saying it's time to get out of here. So you won the primary, hands down, for the Democratic nominee for your race.
Correct.
Do you have anybody run against you?
You talking about in general?
Yeah.
No.
So you're virtually already in there.
Right.
Okay. You just got to vote for yourself.
That's what I'm going to do on August. Yeah.
He just got to vote for himself.
Yeah.
But we want to thank you, Commissioner Ford, for taking the time to come out and just kind of chop it up with us a little bit.
I didn't know time was up already.
Yeah, I know. When you get to talking, it just kind of flows.
That's
you know
exactly
what I mean?
what happens.
But I appreciate you, and we're going to have you back, actually. Hopefully, when all of this is over and, you know, y'all start the new year out, you can come back and give your constituents and some of the individuals out here a brief synopsis of where you guys are going or what it is that you're trying to do in your next 4 years as a county commissioner.
I'll just say I'm happy that it's very highly plausible that you're going to see majority women in September.
They already said 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Five more.
So you're most likely going to see. I can't wait for them to come. I've talked to most of them who have won it outright or won their primary. So we'll just see what happens, and it's going to be a different day. They have the excitement. They're ready to work.
I can't wait for Brittany.
Oh yeah.
Brittany Thornton, bright and shining star, up and comer out of Orange Mound. She's over in Guyana somewhere right now.
Yeah, she's in Ghana.
Yeah, over there having a ball. So, but anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. I want to thank Commissioner Ford for
Thank you
showing
for
up.
having me.
Hey, even though y'all don't have to vote for him out there because he already won, vote for him anyway. Go on, push that button just to give him a warm and fuzzy, okay? And I got a feeling that there's some other things in store out of this young Ford right here. I'm still, every time I see him, I ask him, when are you running for Congress? When are you running for Congress? I'm waiting for another Ford to get the Congress seat so I can come up to D.C. and hopefully.
You can go to D.C. anytime
So
you want.
I want to go with Ford, though, so I can come up there and be the chief administrative officer. No, I'm just kidding. But I think you have the wherewithal. I think you have the ability to be able to do it. So we're just gonna wait and see what happens.
I just want to make sure that the people are taken care of, hopefully on Monday.
Exactly.
As well as everybody else. So I'm not telling anybody what I may do. Look, I love being the senior financial literacy coordinator and helping out.
And you should,
everybody
sir.
from the bottom all the way to the top. So I thank Mayor Strickland for that.
Whatever it is that you do, you should try to be the best at it. And that's
Absolutely.
anybody out there. Hey, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to Memphis 360, the television show. We said we'd like to go from the boardroom to the streets. And I forgot to open up the phone lines. We got the talking. I am so sorry. But I tell you what, until next week, same time, same location, be blessed, be strong, be encouraged, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.